Hi and welcome to the Book Bar, where everything bookish is on the menu. I'm Anjanette Barr, and I'm just coming on for a little chatty update today. It's been a really long time since I recorded. I've wanted to over and over again, and life has just happened. You probably can't tell because it's the same backdrops, but I lost my studio. I now have a teenager and he needed his room back, so I no longer have a studio. I also, a couple of videos back, talked about how I got a great new job, and that job has been wonderful, but I have a little bit less time for my creative endeavors now, so I haven't been recording videos. However, I made a goal to get back into it. I have a lot of plans, and I'm recording a few right in a row to get myself started, and I'm really excited to be back with you on BookTube. I thought I would just kind of give you an update of what I've been doing and what I've been reading, and I'd love to hear from you guys. What have you been up to? It's been months since I posted anything. Let's see. I got Invisalign. It's a random update, but you might notice it, whether my trays are in or out. Tell me if you've had Invisalign. I need some tips, you guys, because I'm not adjusting very well. And I really thought I would adjust better. It's not easy. So tell me your tips for that. Also, I took a couple of trips this summer, and the big one that I told you guys about was Scotland, and it was so worth it. But being gone for week after week, it was a 2-week basically trip, and then trying to get back into things, oh my goodness, and then life just has been crazy. So the video I'm recording right after this one is my Scotland recap. It turned out to be quite a bookish trip, so lots to say about that. Of course, I've read a lot since the last time I posted, and I'm really looking forward to my kind of 2022 recap of my favorites, because I feel like I've read some really good books this year. That'll come a little bit later, though. I'll tell you what I'm reading right now. How about that? Okay, so I participated in the BookTube prize this year. I've judged a lot of contests in the past. I'll put a link to that. And they've been all different kinds, but this year I did 2 in particular. One was strictly for fantasy, and one was the BookTube prize. And the BookTube prize happens every year. I don't know what year they're on, but this is my first time participating. And it's just people who are on BookTube and people who watch BookTube can apply to be judges, and basically look at some of the most popular fiction and nonfiction, and this year translated fiction from the previous year. So these were all 2021 books. I read a lot of them. My favorites just kept getting knocked out of the rankings. I think I must not have the same tastes as most of BookTube, which is, I don't know that there is a most of BookTube. I think certain things trend on BookTube just like anywhere else, but one of the things I love about BookTube is that I have found channels who, BookTube represents the whole world of readers, right? So I found channels that are very niche and that represent like a small subgenre that I enjoy, all the way up to people who just read the most popular, on all the bestseller lists. Or maybe they go through and they try and read all of the Booker Prize nominees or something, which, that's a specific kind of literature. Anyway, so BookTube prize had a pretty decent selection going in, and I felt like what rose to the top was definitely literary fiction. And so all of my kind of favorites just filtered out throughout the competition, but it was super fun to read books that I would not normally read. And I didn't end up with too many favorites out of what I read, but I found that it's really helpful to read things that you wouldn't pick up, and even things that you don't end up enjoying, because it shows you the breadth of what's out there in literature. And as a creative person, it gives you lots of inspiration about, how you would have covered the same topics, what you would have said, how you would have done it. And now as a literary agent, it's really helpful for me to be able to tell my authors, here's an example of a way that it was done that turned out to be really popular, whether or not I liked it myself. But one book that was in that list that did not win the prize, of course I'll link the prize video in the description below, is this one. This did not end up winning the prize, but it got pretty far up there. The Five Wounds by Kirsten Valdez Quaid. Oh my gosh, this book is so good. I think this may end up being up in my top 5 for the year, though we'll see what else I end up reading. But you know, it definitely has a literary feel to it, beautiful prose. It's very character driven, so it's not, you get, you know, 2/3 of the way through and the plot isn't necessarily obvious. It's not to say there's no plot, it's just that's not the driving force. And a lot of times I don't like that. I'm definitely a plot reader, but these characters are so engaging. I'm going to tell you what I'm reading right now, but I cannot get my brain off of this one. So like I just finished, you know, just finished it recently. All the characters are very different. It's about a family who has had some trauma, as we all do, but mostly surrounded by relationships that were either unhealthy or unhealthy in different ways. So I was going to say abusive, but the abuse stems from like just the unhealthy circumstances. So there's a multi-generational family. There's 3 people living together they're kind of the 3 primary protagonists: grandma, the dad, and the daughter. And then if you find out right at the beginning, the daughter's pregnant. So the daughter's 16 and the dad's 33. So, you know, he was a teen dad. She's going to be a teen mom, and then grandma. And it's a really interesting examination of like how they got there. Like, how does this happen where you have generations making decisions that don't set them up well for the future? What I loved about it, though, it's not just a kind of straightforward, you know, it's not a moralistic story about here's what's right, here's what's wrong, being a teen parent is bad. It's each individual character was so unique in the way that they handled their circumstances and the way the decisions that they made, and with what kind of forethought or not, and with what kind of endurance and reserve. I don't know how this author was able to write 3, 4, maybe more characters so convincingly that I kind of felt like she was writing about herself, you know, like what skill to where you that I felt like, you know, maybe she relates to this character because like she's got them spot on. And then there's a character that's totally different and you're like, oh man, she nailed that one too. You know, every character I felt that way. So just masterful. Like how can you write a successful middle-aged grandma with a terminal illness as well as a 33-year-old kind of irresponsible alcoholic, you know? How do you write those both like perfectly? And not to mention a 16-year-old, you know, teen mom. So good. So yeah, it's so good. You'll have to read it. There's nothing like that wasn't a spoiler. All of that I just told you is kind of like obvious from the beginning. So it's a really kind of a gentle journey. Gentle is maybe not the right word. It is a sprawling journey of examining these characters. I really, really enjoyed it. So right now I'm about to get into another novel, but I haven't yet. And I am reading this for book club. Ooh, got a lot of glare. Leisure, The Basis of Culture by Joseph Pieper. I'm more than halfway through. It's pretty dense. It's really good to read in a book club setting because he's basically arguing for the liberal arts is what this is. He's arguing away from a kind of work for work's sake, utilitarian worker state mentality where everything you do has to be productive, has to have an end, or the work is the end, like you take pride in the work, and there's a measurable outcome. So he's arguing for, he uses the word leisure, but he's arguing for all of our pursuits, like BookTube. Maybe he wouldn't, he didn't know about BookTube. He's arguing for all of our pursuits that are creative or contemplative, relational, that don't necessarily have like an A plus B is going to get you C. Sometimes they are just they're what make us human. Like they're what differentiate us from machines, because they are still useful and still edifying. They still build you up as a person, but they're not utilitarian. So it's been really good to talk through this with my friends that I'm doing this book club with and try and put it into practical terms, because it's very philosophical, like, is he saying this or is he saying this? So anyway, I highly recommend this if you're wanting to kind of chew on something a little difficult, especially if you can find a group to read it with. And I'm reading through, actually I just finished reading through Online Marketing for Busy Authors. So if you're looking for a craft book, this is really good. Fauzia Burke. This is the last book for my last class for my UCLA certificate in literary representation, which my last class got put off. It didn't happen in the summer like it was supposed to, so I'm graduating in December, even though I already have the job, but it's really super exciting to be graduating. And this book is for authors who are self-published or traditionally published, doesn't really matter. Anyone kind of trying to figure out, what does an author platform look like? How do you get the word out about your writing? Because of course the truth is that every publisher has a finite marketing budget and also team manpower. They only have so much time and so many resources to give to each author. So career-minded authors always have to do some of that marketing themselves. So what's cool about this book is that it is kind of I didn't write in it, but kind of a workbook with also big chunks of helpful text. So it's a hybrid of that, and really is a step-by-step guide to thinking through your brand, your ideal audience, your age target, your message, and then where to position yourself online to get attention for your book. So, but it's short. It's not that chunky, and so not overwhelming at all. So I highly recommend that. I got a used copy. They're not expensive. I would recommend getting in print. Unless you were just going to journal the answers, because of that workbook sort of format. And then the last book I have pulled up here, I really just walked around my room and grabbed what I was like on the floor and around. It's ridiculous. So many books. I have to tell you about my goals for this year right after this. But last book, how cute is this book? The Pursuit of the Pilfered Cheese by Haley Stewart. It's the first in the Sister Seraphina mysteries, illustrated by Betsy Wallen. I just love this book. Makes me so happy. So there's these sketches throughout. This is like the kind of a map of the layout of this abbey and school that these mouse nuns run. Mouse nuns it's like a fantastic idea. And it is a easy chapter book, or short chapter book. I think best for reading out loud, in my opinion, with beautiful illustrations. And so the premise of this book is that there's an abbey in the floorboards of G.K. Chesterton's house. So G.K. Chesterton and his wife live upstairs, and these mice nuns and their students live in the floor, in the walls. It's so good. And it's mystery. So the prize cheese, let's see if I think it's pretty, yeah. So Sister Seraphina was pleased that everything was ready for the school fair, but when the prize cheese goes missing, the Sisters of Our Lady Star of the Sea and their brave students will need all their detective wits to solve the mystery. With a little literary inspiration from their upstairs neighbors, can they band together to save the case and save St. Wolfhilda's school? It's so cute. And this is by Pauline Media. And Haley, little transition into my next video a little bit. Haley is the person that I went to Scotland with, and a bunch of other lovely people that I'll tell you about. She's not only an author, this is her first published children's book, but she has several nonfiction books. She's not only an author, she's also an editor at a children's book imprint, but not the one that published her. She's so much fun, and I really enjoyed getting to know her, but this book tickles me so much. And then there's another follow-up book that's already, you can already pre-order, that's like a Christmassy mystery with the same sisters. And I just feel like she knows children's literature so well, and this is just a joy to read out loud. So I highly recommend this. I can't wait to get the other one. I've already pre-ordered it, and I think it will get here before Christmas. It might just be something that we like read as a family during that week, that Christmas to New Year's week. So, okay, so I had a birthday this month. This is October, near the end. My birthday is at the beginning of October, and I turned 39. So I decided I needed to do a 40 before 40, and I kind of pulled the internet on my social media and asked them what kind of goals should I make? Should I make 40 goals and try and meet them? Should I make a goal to do 40 of something? What did other people do? And so I came up with other people came up with this whole list, and I added a few to it. And I do have that on my blog, which I'll link below. But what I ended up deciding to do, and I could have done a whole video about this, but they're not all bookish. What I ended up deciding to do was 3 different goals that have 40 in them. I had so many options by the end of asking people, like so many good ideas. But this is what I decided. I kind of thought through, what were my priorities right now? What do I want to focus on? And then I made 3 goals. So the first one is 40 dates, like friend dates or family dates or dates with my husband, but with 40 different people. I feel like we all have been so isolated during COVID, and I miss hanging out with people, and I want to catch up with people. So over the next year, I decided I'm doing things with 40 people. And it could just be a walk, with just the 2 of us, getting coffee, just some kind of hanging out, And I'm already on date. Well, I've had 3 dates, so that's been fun. And then my second goal was to read 40 books. But I always read more than 40 books. So the 40 books that I am going to read are 40 books that I already own that I haven't read yet. Because the book collecting situation in my home is really at a different level than I can't even describe. It's bad. It used to be that I only collected books for my kids, but then BookTube and the pandemic and getting a job in publishing, and I have hundreds of books in this home that hundreds it's probably 1,000 books in this home that I have not read. And that is too many books. So 40 is barely gonna even chip out of that, but basically, even though I'll probably read more than 40 books, I know I'll read a lot more than 40 books before I'm 40 in this year. I need to knock out 40 of them that I already own, because what I usually do when I've read a book that I already own is I pass it on. Unless it's like way up there, I'm going to read this over and over again, then I will usually gift it to someone or donate it or sometimes sell it. So that will at least, it's like I've got this shelf right here. You can't see underneath, but it's a 2-shelf thing. I bet 40 books is not even the top shelf. So I don't know that it's going to make a big difference, but that was one of my 40 before 40 goals. And then my third one was to make 40 YouTube videos. So really going to try and get this all going again. I have a lot of ideas, and one of them that I'll just give you a sneak peek of is that I am going to start a Substack newsletter. It's going to take me a little bit to get it going, but I'm going to start a Substack newsletter that's kind of the written version of a new feature that I want to do on YouTube, which is kind of a happy hour, but it'll be kind of like this, chatty, but a little more organized once I get it going. And it'll be talking about the books that I'm reading and publishing news, just kind of like the world of books. But I want it to be useful and fun, entertaining, and chatty. So I am going to organize my thoughts and plan that out really well. But that's one of the things that I plan on doing here on BookTube. And then still a little bit of writing advice and still a lot of book reviews. So I'm really excited about that between now and next October, making a lot more videos. You've already seen the new intro that I made, and I've got a lot coming. So I guess that's probably all I should talk about for now, because I could just keep talking and talking and talking. And there will be time. So I'm going to make a video, like I said, next that should publish soon. about my Scotland trip and how amazing it was. So until then.